Yes, you're going to have people turn their backs, but it's time for us to keep it real. Just keep talking that real, bro. Do what you do. I know what you do, so keep doing that. Talk the real.
The HBI lads will see you now. See you now. See you now.
I don't want to cause no problems. I just want to live my life, but I keep on hearing about nonsense.
And like one of the big theories is obviously nobody got their like mid-year break because of COVID. Like for you, like you were sitting inside. For us, we were pretending like it wasn't happening, but you couldn't travel. So like no one's had that usual checkout they get around mid-year for a couple of weeks, you know, whether they go country, they go Bali, or they got their travel. So everybody right now is just like on edge and just holding on. Like I see it in all my patients, like so many of them are just absolutely fried and are just trying to hang in till like end of this week, or like when whatever it is next week when they get there. Most of them are getting that full week off, and if they're not, they're at least getting like a 4-day weekend followed by a 3-day weekend, right? So I feel like, you know, and this may or may not be the topic for today, but like it's almost never been better set up as practitioners just to have a shutdown. Like admittedly I say that knowing that I'm going to still be working, but just reduced hours. Like I'm basically taking a week off, and all I have to do, that's the old technique, right? You never take a full week off. You leave half of one week and you come back in half the other week, so it doesn't feel like you actually left. Like I'll work to the 23rd and then I won't come back to the 30th. So it's basically a full week, and all I had to do was take public holidays off. So it's just so well designed. I think for me, one of the things I'm glad we're going down south, going to stay down with friends, Gypsy's aunt's farm, but I'm just intending I'm going to bring a book or two. I'm going to try and avoid touching my phone, avoid looking at emails. I'm probably going to put an autoresponder on, just actually have a deload, because otherwise is that, you know, we've all done it where you take a couple of days off, but like every 3 seconds you're back on your phone like, shit, I need to do this, shit, I need to do that. Like actually use it, you know, do business, use it as a time of reflection, right? Like have an honest assessment of how your year went. Like what, you know, the usual, like what were your strengths, what were your weaknesses, where's the opportunities, you know, all those, you know, the old SWOT analysis type thing. And then make a bit of a plan for the future. Like I already know what my whole Q1's focused on, right? Like that's already in process. And part of what I'm going to do during that, when I review the year, is look at where and what I'm going to put my energy in those processes for Q1. So I think it's such a good opportunity for people to actually use this time efficiently rather than just, you know,
admin time.
Yeah, well, not even just admin time, like also like have a good time as well, right? Like by all means get loose, but don't just one or the other, right? People are either working or they're just fucking like punching cans and doing black flips off utes over at Benny's town. So like we need to be able to have a bit of a mix in there and actually have a proper shutdown, because we don't get it, man. Like this is how practitioner burnout or just human burnout happens, right? If you don't, we try and cram so much shit in, and sometimes we just need to stand still.
Yeah, I agree. And I think a lot of business owners across the board, not just, you know, practitioners, we've had the fight and the battle of just getting through COVID, let alone making it through. And the stresses that we've had to keep staff and things we've had to do financially, and then prioritize and then open and close. It calls for the perfect burnout, right? And by planning and just having a bit of a structured approach going into 2021, it gives you that ability to be able to relax. Because as business owners, like there's a difference between working on the business and working in the business, right? And it's something that we just don't stop doing. We can't help it. We can't stop thinking about it. But if you don't get that reset, it just feels that you're just grinding. You don't kind of have a chance to reset. And the body just kind of gets overwhelmed, and you're going to get to the point where you will break down. And especially if, you know, as Mental Health Awareness Week and all that sort of thing happening, it's really important to, I guess, notice what anxiety looks like. It's good to notice and understand exactly what flows of emotion that you're in and states of mind that you're in, and be able to kind of focus and channel into that, and then be able to kind of tone that down a little bit, because when 2021 hits, we are going to be busy. You know, so I know Benny's gone through a few changes. You've gone through a few changes. I've definitely gone through a few changes. So I agree. Definitely take that time out and adjust and fix.
Yeah, I think you can look at it a couple of different ways. And I believe it depends purely on your personal situation, obviously professional as well for people who are like us, who own businesses. But I've seen it in two different lights. Now, we've been working the whole way through. Obviously, we've had restrictions. Reliant took some time off, whatever. But I'm looking at it from a professional standpoint and trying to gather more market share, because like last man sort of standing sort of thing. So a little bit on the lines that you said, Nath, you'd leave halfway through the week, come back halfway through the other week, that the perception is that you're not closed. You guys are always open, always running. I think that a lot of people have had very personally stressful years as well as the business and stuff, because they have been shut down. Like Mina's been open, close, and that's been really shit. And like, it's not up to anyone's control, but the government, how that plan played out. And you just got to take, you got to take your shots when you can. So that's when I saw it as an opportunity to continue working, continue pushing sort of things, continuing respecting COVID policies and all that APRA sort of stuff. But I don't know. I think that a lot of people some people I've been talking to, a lot of clients have said that they've had 6 or 7 months off and they're just ready to fucking hit the ground running, and that no Christmas break, just all the way through. Whereas I'm at the other end where I'm ready to take a bit of a breather. And then for me, like Mina touched on, is like, there's a difference between working in the business and on the business. And I believe that working in the business is pretty taxing for us, right? Because
that's what I need a break from.
Client facing all day, every day. So I actually enjoy sitting on the podcast talking to you boys, because I still consider this work, communication with clients, automating the back end, systemizing things, whatever. So I'm personally taking a couple of weeks off, but I'm actually looking forward to automating more and more of the business, because that's going to offload me going into the future. So I believe it's very different when you're looking from a business owner's perspective versus a practitioner's perspective, because I 100% would love a break from, client facing, not because I don't like people, but man, I've clocked out some hours this year.
You need to reset the battery, right? Like, because it hits a point, and we've probably all been there, where you realize, and so like, I think a learning you have early in your career where you realize you need to take a break because you're not being, you're not there with your clients. You're there in body, but not in mind. You just, people feel it, and it really hits the business. And I think it's one of the things that you have to get through your head early on, is taking a break will actually make you busier. Because it's like people sense when you come back that you're charged and ready to go, right? Like, you're onto it, and you just provide such a better service. And that's why I think, we've talked about this in other episodes about you set up your years that every quarter you should have a step away, whether it's a small or a large one. Every 90 days there's a step away. It's my coach calls it, the 90-day game plan, or the 6-week sprint type stuff, where it's just like, we're going to go hard, we're going to break. We go hard again, we're going to break. And it's the way I try and set up my days in the clinic as well. It's like fast paced. Then I'm going to have a new client where it's more of a sit down chat, and then work back through, right? Your energy management. But I think he makes some really, really good points there, mate, where it's one of the things I think that all practitioners, whether they own the business or they work in the business, need to understand is that client facing is the fun part, right? Like, that is, in my opinion, that's not work. Like, client facing is the bit we do because we love it. When you are owning a business or you're working in a business, because let's be honest, for the majority of us, it's private practice, right? Like, most of us don't get a 9 to 5 hourly rate here. Your actual work hours are the hours you're not seeing clients, because that's where you have the opportunity to do all the stuff that makes the other stuff easier, more efficient, make sure those clients are coming through the door. And I think for everyone, especially for new grads into the industry, that is the biggest thing we need to understand, is that your actual work is not done on clients, it's done outside, because your degree, whatever facet it came through, whether it was university or other learning institutions, almost never prepared you for the business aspect.
None of it did.
It's a completely different game.
Right. I like everyone just laughed. It's like, no. But we did a business unit. Did you?
Just the business plan that I haven't even looked at yet. That's as far as it goes. So honestly, that's in terms of business, that's as far as it goes. All you do is a business plan, your priorities, your policies and procedures, your clinical safe keeps, and that's about it. In terms of managing workload, managing finances, managing rosters and managing staff, communicating with staff, having the difficult conversations. These are the sorts of things that you learn on the business, right? And these are the things that, take you away from treating and making sure that you've got a clinic that runs smoothly, especially like now I've got a team of 5, 6. So if my policies and procedures and my flow, my environment and my culture is not right, I'm going to be doing double time. And having that time off in COVID's kind of given me that time to reset, to make sure that my culture is right, my focus is right, my vision's clear. And this, you're right, this is actually the stuff I love to work on, because when the clinic's up and running and everything's flowing, you can see all that work come into fruition, right? So this is the perfect time to have a look at your opportunities and work on that, because for me, that's what keeps me at ease. Because when I'm working with clients, that's all I want to do. I don't want to have a split mindset of, okay, what's happening on the other side of the marketing? I want to be able to work with my clients, focus on my clients, and get the results that we're here to deliver. So yeah, the admin part is actually the fun part, and it's the part that you actually get to fine tune what you're good at and what you're not good at. So
Yeah, I enjoy all of it. The thing where you boys both touch on is the difficult part is the balance between running the company and then practicing. So now that I've employed 2 physios, it's really helped me enjoy more of my work, because I've actually stepped back from running so many sessions, so I can actually start to enjoy the work a little bit more now. Like as Nathan said, and Mina and Nate said, similar sort of things. I love the face-to-face. I love the back end and the fine tuning. Like I love that sort of stuff. But I believe that when you're taking on too much client facing, for revenue purposes or whatever it may be, or you're way too unorganized on the back end, that's where it becomes really a ball buster. So I think that if we delve into, I don't know, like, because it is the end of the year, I'll release one, because this one is quite timely in this next month. I think that, what would be your advice for A, health professionals, or B, business owners going into 2021? Like, do we anticipate, things might happen with COVID and we get locked down again? Like, what other branches and avenues are you boys starting to sort of safeguard yourself against, what happens if, flow of clients do stop? So I definitely got some different ideas. Mina and I caught up the other day about how we're going to sort of evolve the business to be a little bit different from what it is today. Yeah. But you boys got ideas, or at least advice or strategies on what's coming for 2021 and how you're planning to really, like, go forward and actually progress with the business and keep growing like the businesses have been this year?
Look, if anything, COVID has taught us to adapt. It's taught us to think laterally, because anything can get taken away from you any point in time. So, financials can always be a stress point for a lot of people, especially for a new business, and especially if you have a lot of staff and a lot of overhead. So being able to improvise. So that's something I definitely took away. So being online, how can I manage things online? So I'm actually in the process of opening up an online store to be able to stock all the stuff that we need to help people progress, right? So that's definitely one aspect. The other aspect is being able to teach online. So this is something that I've been wanting to work with you guys with, and be able to do courses and be able to leverage what I've achieved to be able to help other practitioners. So I want to be able to have a little bit of versatility. So it's not just grinding in the clinic, and having a little bit of diversity in terms of what we offer as a company. So in the event that we can't work, these are the avenues that we should be able to kick off by June 2021. So yeah, so they're the few things that we're currently working on, and this is why COVID has allowed us to kind of see these things, because if COVID didn't happen, I don't think we'd be able to kind of look at this new venture in our businesses and being able to kind of capitalize on that. So it doesn't matter if everyone's doing it. All right. There's so many people that you can cater to. And I put up a post up the other day. Just don't worry about all the fancy things that's happening online. Have a look at what's happening behind the scenes, and just focus on your goals. Like, make sure that your quarterly plan is clear. So Nathan touched on that. He knows exactly what he's planning for. So keep that thorough, keep to your goals, keep it simple, and make sure you're executing.
Yeah. And I think it's probably a unique situation for myself, because in WA, we didn't really have the same deal. We were never officially shut down. Although businesses went a bit quieter for a brief period, we didn't have a 6-month lockdown like you guys over there. So, for better or worse, we've perhaps we haven't looked at some of those opportunities or those options because there wasn't the necessity to. But I think there's a twofold thing here. Like, number one, this comes back to the original talk, like having a reflection, having a sit down and reviewing what, like, you know, that's SWOT analysis, that strength, weakness, opportunities, those threats, like having a look through where you've excelled and where your weaknesses are is going to tell you a lot about what you're going to do in 2021 anyway. And I think it's one of my things my business coach says is, you know, we have to, in terms of energy management, we have to probably keep 80% on the primary, and then you're allowed 20% to go for secondary. And I think for anyone who's got you know, especially if your business is not fully established or is still in growth phases, it's probably more 95-5, right? Like, you need to stay on the forefoot what's going on here, because the moment you shift focus, like anybody who's tried to work out of 2 clinics at once will know, like, you'll shift focus on one and get it busy, and then the other one gets quiet. It's like you never actually see more clients. You just keep shifting around how many you see between the 2 places.
Yes, yeah, correct.
And so doing the reflection at the end of this year is going to tell you where the avenues you need to go, right? I think energy always needs to be put towards making your life easier. So my first quarter is a lot, what Ben was just talking about, is about automation. Mm-hmm. It's about, you know, we're going to look at possibly re-expanding the team again around the end of the first quarter. So I'm putting in all the processes now. Like, I'm having the clinic potentially redesigned and re-outfitted to better facilitate having two chiros on at once.
Yeah.
And I'm having that at the same time, because if it can't be done, then it tells me that potentially I need to look for a different venue, right? Like, you need to always know that you're not locked into a place. So we need to have these hard discussions as business owners. You know, I know when someone comes on this time, a lot of my systems are in my head. You know, they are in process because I'm only managing myself and the front desk at the moment. I need to get them systematized better, which is why I need to relook at CRM management. So I need to look at communication management. I need to get, like, as much as possible, everything digitized, so we have that constant sort of, you know, procedure manual. So if I'm going to have to add more support staff, all these types of things, that it's plug and play and it's ready to roll, because I need to be able to spend my time mentoring and educating anybody coming on.
Yeah.
I can't do that if I'm trying to manage everything at the same time, right? Which is what has happened previously. So
it's a good point, bro. Like, and you learn from pain, right? Pain's a good teacher, and that was a painful experience.
Yeah.
For you to go through that shit, and it was a shit experience. And I can't empathize with you, but I can sympathize how fucking annoying that would have been.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
It's just shit that happened that wasn't, you know, you weren't the one to point the finger at, anything like that. But now you know, right, next time we do this, we're going to fucking make sure it doesn't fail. And like, it's super tough, bro. Going from 1 to 2 is literally a 100% increase in the company size.
Yeah, it's huge.
1 to 2 is tough, because I like, man, this year's, I think, aged me a lot because of the lack of sleep I've had. And not to mention you're managing, obviously, the baby in your personal life. Like, you've moved over to Perth. Like, you've had
you got it coming, brother.
Yeah, you've had a huge year.
You
So
both do.
yeah. So
That's right.
It's yeah, from 1 to 2 is massive. Now, from me to go from 2 to 3 was a bit easier, because it was only a 50% growth. So I'm like, all right, most things are sorted. Like, there's still fine tuning, and then now I've got to, like, look at, obviously, push more into marketing and that sort of thing. But you're right. It's like I think that in your head you can feel like things are going all right, but until you get objective and look at your numbers and your hours, and you have a true reflection of, like, all right, am I actually happy? I've been like a fucking sad or angry piece of shit at home, whatever it may be. Like, that's what I am looking forward to doing, is more like a review and an analysis of the year. Look at the numbers and think, oh man, maybe I'm not seeing as many new clients as what I was before, and how has different changes that I've made throughout the year impacted the numbers and the objectivity. Because there's a big difference between your subjective sort of opinion and analysis of the company, and then the objectively what is actually happening in the background. So I believe that, yeah, for me, an analysis of the objective measures is like how many clients we're seeing, how much money is coming through, how much money we're spending on additional shit that I shouldn't be spending money on. How far I'm behind on, you know, how many days am I leaving the invoicing for, how much extra fucking TAC work cover admin, you know, like it's just, there's a lot of moving parts to the business that we all know, but there's just, for me, so many areas I can improve the business. And once we talk about that systemization, that automation of the processes from a company owner, that just makes the client experience and service so much more
seamless,
valuable, because, you know, like you're outsourcing everything to your admin. So like, for example, Rulan or Tez doesn't have to handle bookings, or they have to worry about late cancellations and chasing people up. So that's what I'm really looking forward to, is really differentiating and separating the administrative side of the business from the service delivery and the practitioner side. And that's just going to make things go from, you know, next level, which will be sick.
And I agree, Benny. And this is where, you know, reviewing your business is really, really important. Like at the start of the year, it was just me, right? Me in this big old place. And now we're up to 5 staff. We're opening up a new clinic, and I just hired an osteo now, right? So we're up to 6
Well done,
staff.
bro. Big moves. That's good. That should be congratulated on that. That's massive.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. And the thing is knowing your own capacity. This is really important. You can't do everything, right? You know, for me, I was doing the bookkeeping, I was doing the invoicing, I was doing the marketing, and it's just you've got to be doing the washing. And if my biggest achievement this year is outsourcing. All right. So having an understanding, okay, how many treatments need to come through the clinic for me to be able to afford a receptionist, a marketing manager, a towel service, right? So understanding how much you need to produce in order to do that, and also make a profit. All right. But I would rather compensate profit for headspace, right?
Yeah, bro.
Because now I know that my marketing manager and my reception take care of everything. My workers are in such a better place now because they don't have to worry about coming forward and rebooking. That all gets taken care of them, right? They know all the marketing's kind of been done. But if I didn't kind of understand what's coming in the business, what's coming out of the business, where I can save money, where I can make money, like I've just gone and changed all my employment contracts again. Good. Well, I just gave it to them 5 months ago, and I've had to change them again, because if I didn't assess and have a look, and even talk to you guys about different ways, and chat with my business owner, you know, how can I make more money by saving money, but also they make more money, right? Man. So it's just a way that it helps us. Yeah, it just helps us move forward. And if you don't kind of assess and really, really criticize every single dollar, you need to know what's coming in and what's coming out to the T.
Yeah, you have to.
And you know, assess your credit card bills, assess everything, every little bit of money that comes in and comes out. You should know everything, because these are the sorts of things that are going to keep you relaxed, because you're in control of everything. And hiring has been the best part.
Yeah, well, it'll stop you wasting money too, right? Because how many of us have turned around and you're like, what's that subscription payment I'm paying for here? And you're like, I haven't used that in forever. Like, let's kill that thing right now. Like, it's not a lot of money, but it still adds up.
It adds up, man.
Subscriptions can be like, it can be $1,000 or more a year in just random stuff that you're not using, right? Like, and so you have to have that constant, because the other thing with subscriptions is you can turn them on and off. You can you're like, I'm not going to need it this month. I'm just going to turn it off. I'm going to turn it back on when I need it. Like, it doesn't just have to run through. Yeah. But so many times you get busy, you get things wrong, and then you look at the account and you're like, what the shit is that? What am I paying this on? What am I paying that on? Like, it's, you know, like, again, it's not about being cheap. It's about being frugal, right? It's about spend good money on the stuff that's important, but don't waste money. Like, I think, said everyone, like, profit first, I think, should be mandatory reading in all like private practice courses, because it's one of the best books and one of the simplest to follow. And honestly, like, it's had been the best thing I've done to start my business. Like, it's just made life so easy. And we're in such a good position because we stuck to it, right? Like, it's basically Barefoot Investor, but for business. But it's not, like, when you read these stuff, you're like, it's not even that difficult. You just have to do the work.
It brings it to your awareness. Like, even in our clinical skills, like, you might watch someone do something. I might watch Mina do something. I'm like, oh, that's a way better way to do that same thing that I'm trying to achieve in like half the time. I'm like, it just brings it into your awareness. And that's why it's so good to have an external, coach or consultant, or at least someone with eyes outside of, the actual game that's happening to go, all right, you could do this, you could do that, like an aerial sort of view. So
Yeah.
I believe that's
I like it.
fantastic. I think that we covered a lot of good shit here. So
Where do you think, I was going to jump back on this, because we talked obviously about potential opportunities outside, so lateral opportunities for continuing revenue, and obviously Mina dropped through about the online shop and stuff like that. In your world, Ben, like this is something for me, the opportunities I'm looking at first up next year are like, number one, probably if I am going to stay in the property I'm in, I'm going to buy it and I'm going to rent it back to myself. Simple, easy, effective. You know, it's a bit of a lateral long-term solution.
It's a
But
great
if we
solution.
yeah. And like, but it's making sure it's the right place is the first thing, right? Like, but Ben, you're a man who likes to dabble on the laterals. Like in your mind, I mean, obviously we know cryptocurrency is about to come out of your mouth because apparently
Hold me
Bitcoin's
back.
going to an all-time high.
Hold me back.
And I've got to figure this shit out and figure out where I'm going with it. But
Have to.
if we, you know, for anyone, right, whether it's not even health business related, you know, if you've got some money, some profit sitting there in that account and you want to have it working for you, like where do you think the great investments are? Like I know one of the things I'm in discussion with right at the moment, my very good friend who will soon be a guest on this podcast, exercise physiologist Dylan Kavas-Rothwell, has made PhysiGun, which is like a miniature massage gun, which I've been just flying through the clinic, right? Like I can't keep them on the shelf because it's Christmas. They're small, they're compact, they're nicer use than most of the other ones. I don't know. They look like a dildo, so the girl's buying them up. Who knows what's going on, right? But the discussion we're having is around what is those, you know, regular consumables that health practitioners have an option to monetize, and how do we create that market for them, right? How do we make it easy for them? So that's one thing I'm looking at. But if, you know, that still has an outlay. So Ben, Mina, in your opinions, where do you think that, like, if both within the industry and then outside of the industry, where do you think money's best spent?
Can you go, Mina?
It's a good one. I've been having this is what COVID gave me an opportunity to look at, and for me, it's looking at the daily consumables. So we're looking at manufacturing bath salts, magnesium. I'm looking at doing my own creams, my own oils, and you need to be able to buy this sort of stuff in big bulk, and that's where you kind of make your money. Ben and I are looking at making new scraping tools, which is we're nearly in the process of starting that.
2 years.
Products, it doesn't matter. Things just take time to build, and depending on where you're at. But in terms of investment, like I like to invest a lot in property. So it's something similar to you, like wherever I kind of go next, I want to purchase and redo for me and have a look at value. And I obviously dabble in a fair bit of cryptocurrency as well. So for me, products, property, shares, and stocks are where it's at for me.
Yeah, I think that
Before Ben jumps in, have you bought into Airbnb yet?
that's pumped 140%.
Because it's just landed, and I have a certain friend whose name will remain nameless, but he was conned into an early IBO like 3 years ago, thinking it was Airbnb, and was flushed for 19K. So for him, it's a real like soft point now that Airbnb is actually legit and gone. I don't know he's going to put his money into it. Luckily, he was in a position to lose some money, but
damn. That's a scammy shit you gotta look out for. Like,
oh mate, and like if I told you this story, like it was it's amazing how legitimate everything is up until the point where it's not, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think we need to say a disclaimer here. None of this is professional advice. None of us are we're all trained health professionals, but we ain't trained investors. So all of this here is
and
like
investors don't get it right as much as they'd like either.
Yeah. Well, people only talk about their wins, right?
Yeah.
So, like,
investing is Instagram in real life, mate.
That's right. It's the highlight reel. So, first of all, I'm personally not an expert, and I'm definitely not giving out professional advice here. But I believe that being able to generate revenue outside of your job or your company is perfect for mitigating risk, because people talk about diversifying their portfolio with different stocks and across different industries, whatever it may be. But I believe that personally, and it depends on what you want to do, depends what your risk tolerance is like, depends what you know, what amount of wealth you want to have in your life and what amount of freedom you want to have in your life. But for me, making money outside of the company is actually trying to safeguard against what happens if the company fucking fails or something like that happens. So therefore I'm looking into, you know, we say we're looking into, like, this is what I need to put this plan together for, is because I want to put together some courses, some mentorship, some mentoring, all that sort of thing as well. And what we spoke about with Mina, we'd love to go into some e-commerce, production of some products and that sort of thing as well. But external to what we do at work and things tied to, you know, the company, like I love like punting on crypto, investing in crypto. And it's a big thing because, you know, when you invest, you know, a decent amount of money elsewhere, it does take a lot of time up when you do your research and you're talking to people all about different things. You're trying to understand, like, you know, it's a whole profession, like the investing. You have financial advisors, you have people, brokers who manage your money, etc. But for me, I've just got a liking to cryptocurrency. There's a lot of bad stigma attached to it, but for now it's really hitting like a bull market, which is like you could literally throw your money at anything and you'll make money. Now, as Nate said, there's a lot of scammy shit that goes on. There's a lot of money to be made. So therefore these scams, they look like legitimate. Like they're like the real deal. They're just a small rip off from what the actual investment may be. But for me, yeah, cryptocurrency is where I got a lot of my money sitting. I basically make sure I've got enough money for my personal life, and there's some expenses coming ahead that Nathan can tell me all about for the baby. And I've got enough money for the business, and then obviously with the tax and the BASs and all that sort of shit. But for additional profit that doesn't get recycled back into the company, I'm like, all right, well, I'm pushing more into cryptocurrencies. Now, cryptocurrencies, it's the same sort of principles that apply to stock markets. It's all trading. End of the day, you're buying something, you know, at a price and you're trying to sell it at a profit. Hopefully you make a decent profit on it. You know, you got to pay your capital gains tax, all that sort of shit. But even Nath, you touched on commercial property, and there's obviously residential property. But in Australia, like, you know, the residential properties are very like hyperinflated. So it'd be probably a good time to sell like a residential property, just in my opinion.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to snag a commercial property and have like already tenants ready to go in, or Nate said you're going to move in yourself, that's not a bad idea as well, because every fourth or fifth shop here in Melbourne has gone up for lease. So therefore, when there is competition, you know, for tenants, therefore prices will be driven down. So therefore, if you understand a bit of, you know, psychology around financials and investing and whatever it may be, then, you know, we're looking like a commercial property dip with the residential hyperinflation. So for me, I don't have enough money or inkling to get into that side of thing just yet, because I believe my money is better spent in cryptocurrencies right now for the return on investment. But, you know, we're heading into like a 100-year super debt cycle. The US have just printed 25% of their total currency has been printed this year. So there's going to be currency wars, there's trading wars left, right, and center. This next decade is going to be very, very interesting when it comes to like the economic landscape of the world. And if China take over and become the number one economy, the new world reserve currency becomes the yuan rather than the US dollar. We see World War III. Fuck, who knows what's going to happen? But you got to take the opportunities when they come. If you guys are looking into crypto, this right now is the opportunity. What's the date today? The 17th of December, 2020. Yeah. Don't listen to this thing and go, man, I should have done that.
Should have, would have, could have, but you didn't.
Yeah, that's my opinion anyway.
Apparently, I need to listen. You need to slide into the DM and tell me where I'm going again, mate.
Well, yeah, that's maybe one of my other courses I'm looking at, is legit like running some like just beginner's guide into cryptocurrency. Like it's at the moment, I said you can throw your money at anything, you can make it. So therefore, people are going to think you're the GOAT when you're telling them to put their money in something that's going up. Like, this guy's a genius. But it's like, it's just the cycle it's at is just means it's going up. So therefore, you will make money whether you make it tomorrow or within 2 months. The money, it will come and it will last for the next 12 months. So ideally, you get in at the start, which is now. Then you can make maximal profits. So I'm happy to help.
I mean, like I dabbled in crypto like 3 or 4 months ago, and I put $800. It's nearly at $6,000, right? In
Smashing
a few
it.
months, right? And I just because I didn't really know much about it, I didn't want to put too much money, but I put all my money into property, right? So, have a look at things over a trend of 5 to 7, 10 years, and these are the trends that you're going to get. So now, when I've purchased them 5 years ago, now I'm starting to see the benefits of it, right? So, whatever you kind of dabble in, like do your research. Like I try to invest a lot into gold and silver as well. As you know, Benny's kind of my dad winning in the industry. So, look at things and just do your research and understand before you put your money into something you're not aware of, just because your mate told you so. Do your own research.
100%. This is
an
interesting podcast, this one.
Yeah, it's gone all over the shop today. It started with a bit of rest from rewind, and yet again, it's gone full bend circle, and we're investing in cryptocurrency.
Pyramid scheme.
I feel like we're going to have to change. It's going to be like HBIC, health, business, in between, and crypto.
Cryptocurrencies.
Health, business, crypto, and in between.
Well, it's been a eventful year. It's been a learning year. It's been a stressful year. It's been a good year. It's been a lot of things all mushed into one.
Historic year.
But it ain't done yet.
It ain't
Still
done
a couple
yet.
of weeks to roll. So who knows what could happen in the meantime.
2 weeks to go. That is it.
Mate, big days are apart. All right, everybody. Well, as always, thank you for listening. Make sure we pay the dues. If you learned something today or you just want to hassle Ben about crypto, get a screenshot, throw it up, tag us all in. And as always, leave us a 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. It's been a pleasure,
guys.
lads. I will speak to you all very, very soon.
See you, boys.
See you, boys.